Start recording over here. All right. What is up, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Elton, like Elton John. Yeah, I just don't happen to be doing any singing today. I'm gonna be doing some real estate wholesaling analysis. Welcome to another episode. This is, I think, part 22. I think we're already 22 times that we've come in together, hosting these live events, doing some real estate analysis, and also for real estate wholesaling purposes as well too. Just because real estate wholesaling is one of many strategies you are able to do. If you're trying to jump into real estate wholesaling, it is a great way to like make money. It is a business as well too, so you have to consider it as such. But welcome, welcome, welcome. So today is going to be again another episode where we're going to be doing some live analyzing, some understanding like some basic fundamentals, get some basic understanding on some words as well too when it comes to like analyzing and real estate overall. But if you happen to have like any questions, you can by all means drop any questions in the chat. Or if you can reserve some questions, so we can reserve some questions until the end of the whole series and event. And so we'll leave it open until like a Q&A as well too. But again, my name is Elton, like Elton John. Just a little bit of background about me. I have been wholesaling for the last 10 months in some markets all over the Midwest. Not so much here in California, just because over here in California it's a little bit too expensive. I have network over here, so I've come across some buyers that I like to work with, but a lot of them just like to stick over here for whatever reasons that they have. But if you happen to be networking or attending a lot of network events, it does come in handy whenever you're looking for other investors or again just to network with other people that are like-minded, like just like you. And a little bit more about that. My background is over a decade of sales and marketing, where I just have like a lot of skills on just working with a lot of people, training people, coaching. So I do have a one-on-one coaching session available if you want a more thorough guide in any questions or any specific questions that you do have regarding about real estate. And so you can always book a one-on-one session with me there. And other than that, it's pretty much it. Just about me. And again, I just love to do these series for free. Again, just so I can provide the best that I can, understanding some basic understanding when it comes to like analyzing deals. Of course, it does get challenging as you're progressing like on your journey. But again, it's all about just understanding some basic fundamentals in terms of like analyzing and just basic fundamentals in terms of like real estate as well too. So with that being said, with that in mind, again, we'll leave all questions to the end. Let's get started. So first things first, when it comes to like wholesaling, you do have to understand there are quite a few steps when it comes to doing some wholesaling, or even if you're trying to buy real estate over as well too, it's literally the same steps. Some are going to be slightly different here and there. But if you're becoming an investor, then you are going to basically be doing some of these steps here whatsoever. The main one that this series mainly focuses is analyzing like the properties, so what it takes to make sure that you're getting the right deal out of the property. How much would a property get bought out by your end buyer if you happen to come across some end buyers locally, and also maybe some out of state ones. So you have to understand like the mindset of where everybody stands in terms of like the deal, where the seller, where you, and where the buyer will be standing. And then from there, again, just make sure that if it's a deal that you can make out of it, cool. If the deal doesn't work in terms of like wholesaling it, there are other strategies that it is always best to like learn. Just don't stick to like one side of the pie. Again, there are multiple strategies that you're able to do. It's all about getting creative and just learning those extra strategies. I won't be going all over those strategies. If you happen to come across it, by all means, I'll definitely share the best routine for it. And again, because we are going to be doing some live and analyzing, if you happen to have an address, by all means, drop the address in the chat. Whenever we are analyzing like the address that you did put down, I'm going to be asking some questions so I can understand where the property stands. If it's just a random address, just let me know as well too from there, so that way we can make the best out of it. So going back to what the series is about is understanding where the offer stands. We do have to understand some fundamentals when it comes to knowing how to structure like a deal. The very first thing that we have to understand is after repair value of the property. This is across the board by all investors are requirements. If it's going to be a fix and flip, a buy and hold, or just any type of investor that you're looking for, they always want to know what the property's value will be if it were to get fully updated, or if it requires any type of updates. So again, they're able to pick up some equity, or maybe just bring extra value into like the property, depending on what the strategy is. Airbnb, fix and flip, um, buy and hold for like a rental, and maybe student housing. It really depends on what it is that they want to do. But that's the number one thing that you do have to understand and find out, which we are going to go through it on how to find that out. But basically, as the word says it, it's what the property will be worth once it gets fully updated. Now, when it comes to individual investors, this is something, or buyers as well too. You have to understand how buyers end up analyzing like their deals, because everybody is going to analyze it very differently. You're going to be analyzing very different comparable to a buyer that you just met locally. You could find another buyer that invests out of state. That other investors could be doing their numbers very differently. So it's always good to know how that specific buyer or investor does the numbers. So that way, whenever you're looking at a property that they like and it's within like their buying criteria or their buy box, then from there it is going to be essentially easy for you to analyze it and analyze it for that specific investor. And then sometimes maybe that other investor likes how you analyze it. So another investor might be interested in it as well too, because again, it's just all about experiences. So all of them are gonna come across the same experiences, and they just like to add like little twists into like their strategies. But by all means, all buyers are very differently across the board. All properties are very differently across the board. So it's just something that you do have to keep in mind. But there are two common buyers. Investors one and two are the two most common ones whenever we're looking into analyzing deals. And again, that's when anything more than that, that's when you start getting like different type of investors into it. Now, the next thing we have to understand is repairs. So what the property would take to bring those repairs and bring that extra value over on the property. The repairs are going to be pretty much average across the board. And I don't like to spend a lot of time at looking at these or over analyzing like the repairs, how much one property needs down to like the dollar. Because honestly, when it comes to real estate, unexpected things happen. Just it always has to happen for whatever reason. It's just those extra costs to happen to come up, those extra changes that you don't really want to do, but you actually end up needing are always going to be coming up. So if you happen to analyze a property and you say that one of the processes that we're going to be using is one of the calculators that are designed to help you like analyze it. But when you stick to like these averages, if you analyze a property and the property needs $40,000, if you bring it to investor number one is going to say, this doesn't need $40,000. This needs $80,000. And you're like, whoa, how'd you come up with that? Or what? How does that go with that? Then if you bring it over to investor number two and you tell them the same thing, hey, this property needs around $40,000, there sometimes very minimally though, I even tell you as well too, they'll be like, okay, yeah, $40,000, cool. And sometimes be like, if you have like a strong relationship with them, they'll tell you like, this doesn't need $40,000. I can get away with this between 25 to like $30,000. And that's the thing about investors. It really depends on what kind of materials they want to do, how much is it going to cost to them to get it done. Because in some states, like California, New York, Florida, Texas, Washington, and some other states as well too. There are going to be more expensive, even if it's average. The number of repairs are not going to be very the same from all states. It's just a lot of those more expensive cities and states are going to be more on the labor side, where it's going to get more expensive. But again, you are going to come across seasoned investors that already have a specific contractor that they're able to bring their costs down. So again, they do know specifically how much they're going to get into it. If a new investors come into a new area, then they have to look for somebody, and then they're kind of expecting kind of a higher price as well too, because again, they're starting somewhere new and the risk parameters could be very high. So they just want to play extremely safe or extremely conservative on that route. But looking at the repairs, they're pretty much going to be like this. Light repairs, think about it as a property that maybe it's like 2010, 2015, 2020 home. It just has, not even 2020, I'll say like 2017, honestly, like the most. It's just a little bit outdated, or maybe like a property that is being rented out, or maybe an apartment as well too, if it's like a duplex, triplex type of multifamily. And it just needs little things like paint and carpet and maybe some new appliances. That's going to be more like on the light repairs. Sometimes you could have maybe like lighting or something extra, but it's not going to be too expensive. It looks in great shape, great condition. It just needs like something new to like revive like the home. Those are going to be more of the light repairs. Now getting onto like the average repairs, this is going to be more on the average repairs when we start. The flooring looks great, but it's just again you want to keep it at looking at this example, the flooring is great, but looking at through it, the kitchen and the bathroom have like tile flooring. So again, you want to either keep the flooring the same across the entire home, or again make it unique in different sections. But again, we have to definitely update that. Definitely update like the lighting on here. Definitely like the paint, windows. Maybe like a little bit on like on the windows. They might look. They do look a little bit older as well too. Then of course you have like the kitchen and the bathroom. So these are going to be more like on the fix and flip a type of investor, where it's going to take a little bit more work. And not only that, but also like the outside. And sometimes occasionally you come across like the roof. This one you can't really tell as much, but the roof over here looks about 8 to like 10 years old whatsoever. And maybe you have to do like some landscaping as well too. So those again are going to be on the average repairs are going to be between 25 to like $40 per square foot. Next is going to be the gut job repairs. Gut job repairs are definitely like a nightmare. So think about Monster House, or just like those ugly abandoned homes that look like they need to get demolished. These are the type of homes. Not completely have to demolish. Occasionally, you probably might have to, because sometimes they are burnt. So it just the city wants them to get demolished and get fully updated. That usually is going to take an extra 10 to like $15,000 to like demolish like a home. Actually, sorry, between five to like $15,000 is going to be like the price range on demolishing a home, depending on where you are. But this is going to need a full workup, kitchen, floors, just again strip down everything and just bring in everything new. And again, this is where you're going to get unexpected expenses when you're doing jobs like this, or when you're looking at properties like this, where in some states, I look at a lot of Midwest states, so there's a lot of basements over there. So usually the in the basement is where the foundation is, and you have to double check like there's no water leakage, just like there's like over here, there's like some water spilling over here. So that could be like an issue where you have to figure out where the water is coming from, and the water damage that it created either in the foundation, or what else did it do to like the home. Meanwhile, it was completely vacant. These are going to take 45 to like $60, sometimes even a little bit more, like on the repairs. And additionally, because there's a basement, basements also have to get like updated as well too. They'll be classified as unfinished basements, and then finished will be again getting the job completely done. But again, the purpose of this repairs cost is stick to the averages, just because again, if you overanalyze a property just because of repairs, you're gonna get a significant amount of different answers across the board. And again, you try to make like the most out of your deal. Yes, you can play it safe, but again, playing it safe is just over analyzing, and that's how you're gonna start overwhelming yourself and spending 1 hour just analyzing one property. When in all reality, you should be spending about 5 to like 15. You should be analyzing 5 to like 15 different properties in 1 hour, just because again, you want to expedite your process in terms of volume, not quality in terms of like repairs, just because repairs are not good is not your business. Unless you're a specific rehab investor that is doing a fix and flip, then by all means you have to hire somebody professional to come analyze the property and give you the quote while you're looking at the property. But again, that's a whole different type of scenario from there. Part of the process is again going back to the ARV, is we know the repairs, we know the how much the property will be worth, which we'll find out how much. We have to do the repairs. Next, we have to understand that whenever we're looking at properties, we also have to know when we're looking at comparables or similar homes or comps. Basically, we do have to stick within certain parameters of analyzing those properties. And we have to analyze those properties and stick with these parameters are essential because these parameters are based on how an appraiser, so that's part of the process is getting the home appraised to see how much the new value is after it got fully updated. They're going to be looking at other similar homes that are in that new condition and then seeing how much those homes are sold for, or what the price of those homes could be. So that way they can analyze it to this subject property that they're looking into. So looking at the parameters for excuse me, the very first thing that we're going to be looking into is the living space. So when we're looking at living space, is basically the square footage of the main home or the main area, not the basement. Basement's going to be a whole separate thing. But the living area, yeah, if you're looking at a 1,200 square foot home, we're going to look at plus 300, so all the way up to like 1,500, and all the way down to minus 300, so 900. So 900 to 1,500, that's going to be your range of looking at the living space. Square footage and the lot size. This is going to be very differently across depending on where you are, but this could be more applied into properties that have a lot of acres into play. So if you're looking at a quarter of an acre, half an acre, 1, 3, 10, 18, 40, however many acres you're looking into like the land, and that's where you have to compare again the lot size into like the home or into like the land, and not to worry too much about like the home, but more on the land side. Whenever we're looking for similar homes, we do want to stick within a half a mile to a 1 mile radius. One of the biggest obstacles of looking at this radius is making sure that you're sticking within with the same neighborhood, or within the same division or subdivision of the properties, because the way they're going to get split up is a lot of it's going to be through heavy traffic roads or double yellow line roads as listed over here. And what they are double yellow line roads are main roads where there's commuters, people getting to and from home, buses, delivery trucks, semi trucks, construction trucks, just construction happening in that road most of the time as well too. There's going to be like parades. It's like a major road where there's constant flow of traffic every single hour and hour. That one side of that road is going to be one neighborhood, and the other side of that road is going to be a whole different neighborhood. So if we're an appraiser were to come in and they're looking at homes to compare to your subject property, regardless of how similar it is to your property, it's within the same parameters. If the property is on the other side of that heavy traffic road, the appraiser will not pull that as a comp, just because again, that's going to be a whole different neighborhood. Even railroads, occasionally you come across railroads where railroads will split up neighborhoods. That one is going to be very depending on how it's structured. If there's similar homes, or if it's like a home or a creek that is like separating as well too. It's just that one's going to be a little bit situational basis. But again, these roads are going to be you want to stick within the same neighborhood, nothing beyond those heavy traffic roads. Which as we do some analyzing, we're going to see how this is going to be coming into play. Of course, you want to stick to apples. So the plus or minus on the years of the property have to be very similar. It has to be plus minus 5 to like 10 years. You can't compare a 2024 built home to a 1950s home. Just again, it's going to be that's going to be apples to oranges, and we want to compare the same apples to apples when we're looking at these properties. And whenever we're looking for comps, we have to find at least three. If you happen to have a strong relationship with the end buyer, that they trust your due diligence, they trust your numbers, and you already have been doing some deals with them, and you bring them just one comp, you might be able to get away with one comp, but most of the time it is going to be challenging because again, they're going to be doing their due diligence. The end buyers are going to, or they're going to have somebody do it for them, and they want to make sure for their safety net that they're able to find at least three similar homes that are in that good conditioning. Um, So that way, again, they want to double make sure like the numbers do make sense for them to bring their investment into this opportunity that you have that you're presenting over to them. All right. So those are going to be the basic fundamentals, the ARV, the repairs, and the comp parameters. But now we're going to implement all those into play. And again, we are going to be using the calculator that I've designed to help expedite the process. Because again, part of the when it comes to real estate wholesaling, it's all about make sure that you getting like high volume results. And again, sticking to high volume activities as well too on your side, where you're doing the high volume outreach, and then just putting offers out there, and then just getting the best, making the best out of each single deal. But that cannot be achieved if you don't have one, a system or a process to help you out, but also two, a way to like help you with the numbers. But right now there is a coupon going for the calculators. So this is part of the calculator section. You can use the coupon code Super Bowl 24 so that we can get 50% off from the calculators. We are going to be using a few of the calculators today. One of them is going to be the ARV calculator. This is going to be more on the fix and flip side to understand the fix and flippers, how they analyze it. We're going to be using a complete rental one because we want to make sure you understand how you're able to analyze properties that are being rented and how to go with those rental analysis. One is coming very soon. The seller finance one, that one's coming very, very soon. It's still on the works for it. But if you happen to get like the pro bundle of the calculators, all three of them will come in together. Or if you want to get them separately and pay more, by all means do so. But I recommend getting like the pro bundle so that we have access to all three of them. I am going to be, again, if you happen to have an address, by all means, drop your address in the chat. And I am going to be asking questions about it. So that way I can understand more details. If it's a random address, that's perfectly fine as well, too. But let's check it out here. I'm going to be using a wheel. So that way I don't stick to a specific market. I always like to spread out the markets from here. Golf for Mississippi. Actually, we just did this one a couple of series back, so I am gonna be doing like a different one. Just because again, I always want to keep it very, very differently. Now we have Gary, Indiana. So we're gonna be using properties on the market, and a lot of you might be asking why we're looking at properties are on the market. That's because you can find deals on the market. If I'm able to find deals on the market and properties that are, again, if you analyze it, and it's all about experience, honestly. If I'm able to find properties on these live events and then constantly find it on just like on my own, if there are great deals out there. It's just the way you have to like talk, or the way you have to like pitch yourself, and then just build a relationship either with the seller or with the agent. That's all that truly matters from there. You have to understand certain pain points. You have to understand how you can bring that value and the solution over to what's going on with the situation. That's what I'm able to do. That's because again, I have my experience of sales, my decade of sales already. So it's easy for me to like see that. But again, I put a lot of it into action to implement it, and you are able to find deals on the market. So we're going to be using both Redfin and Zillow. Um, so that way we can find, because sometimes Zillow has a little bit more properties than Redfin, but I like to use Redfin's user interface just because it's easier to find some comps from here. But let's check it out. What I like to do with here with some of these listings is I like to set certain filters, and these filters work well for me. Again, I already done a numerous amount of deals where and also analyzing that I already have like the best on my side to on the number side, where the same number of properties, same square footage, years, and all this just pops out consistently, that I already know how to like look into it. But again, I'm trying to share that with you guys to show you what it is. So when I'm looking for like a fix and flip, because I'm using the ARV calculator right now, if I were to look for a fix and flip investor, I would look for properties that are single family homes, at least 1,000 square feet. And also the best thing about it is make sure that they are a 45 days stale. Anything over 45, I love it. Bring it. I'll definitely love to like analyze it. And then from here, Gary, I know Gary, Indiana, just because it's a great area for rentals. I'm gonna be looking for a lot of these. As I was mentioning, those gut job homes. Gary, Indiana is really close to Chicago, so you're definitely gonna come across a lot of properties that are gut job repairs, and this is one of those gut job repair properties. Of course, this I can definitely try to like analyze it, but usually when you come across properties that are very inexpensive in terms of like from less than a $50,000 on the price point, they are gonna have major issues besides the heavy gut job. There could be like a fire, code violation, so it's just gonna take like extra work to get the job done. Again, occasionally you will definitely come across something that it's in better condition. It still needs the gut job repairs, but it's just in a slightly better conditioning from here. Because I see this one popped up off the bat, big size home. Um, but sometimes what I like to do is I like to scout the neighborhood. So let's say I like this property. Let's say for laughs and giggles, you know what? I like it. Let me see what's going on. I want to scout like the area to see if there's like a lot of activity going on. And what I mean by a lot of activity is what's on the market right now and let's see, what's under contract. So if there's properties that are under contract in this area, which some extra ones did pop up, then the ARV is like high, then by all means, this is going to be like an area that I should be looking into. So far, I do see three high prices over here of 200, 175, 140. So again, that's where I have to check it out, but I also have to be aware again of my streets. How busy are these streets in Gary, Indiana? Are they high traffic roads? Like what is this like Broadway, or are they just like main passage roads? So that way they link up to like the residential homes. But again, that's what I like to do first. If you're trying to like understand like your market, you want to look for a market that is that there's some activity going on, where there's a lot of contracts in that area. There's a lot of properties that are getting updated in your area. Another way you can do it too is go through Street Viewer. So when you select the home, so like this one, that $25,000 one, it lets you do like Street Viewer, and get an understanding of how the property is in the area. Uh, oh God. But the only thing with this is you want to make sure, yeah, you want to see how old this is. So this is 2022 Google. So it is a little bit outdated. So I don't know if this is how the home still looks to this day. Or as we noticed like in the pictures, they probably took a lot of those trees down. So that's the thing that you have to look into that as well too. But Street Viewer does help out significantly. To like understand what's going on like in the neighborhood and the area. I can still do it even if it's like 2022 to see if there's like homes that were updated maybe around 2022. Um, if I happen to come across, so this is a good one right over here. Great conditioning, great siding. Looks like they had like this new deck done. Right next to it, there's this other one as well too. Black and white home. Is it boarded up, or does it look like it's in good shape? It's in okay shape. This is probably done a while back. So this is what I'm talking about. And it's sometimes whenever you do a Street Viewer, this is the best part as well too. You're kind of doing driving for dollars virtually, and this is doing driving for dollars virtually. You're looking at Street Viewer for other opportunities to see if there's another home. Oh, here's a good one. So this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for homes that are like this. Great. You're gonna see the same color scheme. It's either gonna be black and white, gray and white, green and white, or it's just gonna be like some dark color with like mixed with white on it. And then this is one of those examples as well too. So this is what I'm looking for to like understand like the neighborhood. But again, when we're looking when you're doing drive for dollars virtually, again, this opens up the opportunity for you to see if there's anything else that might need updating, that again a lot of these neighbors don't really like how that home is looking. It just makes the whole street, the whole neighborhood like a downgrade in terms of like quality. So again, we want to bring like the quality standards, and then a lot of these homes are really good. So here's an example. I just did driving for dollars virtually. There's the address, there's the number of the home right there. And then right next to it, again, we have a couple homes that are in great shape. There's this blue one as well too. And then here's maybe another opportunity on this one, just because I see this big tree, that there's a lot of leaves onto it. Windows look a little bit old. So again, this is a great example of a property that you can look for. The only thing I do see that this has newer windows, so I'm not sure if the work got done to it. So I can't really know what the condition of it is, but these windows up here are kind of newer comparable to over here. So there's probably work being done, and then you're just slowly and steady getting fixed up. But that's an example of driving for dollars and in how you're able to find other opportunities within the same neighborhood or the same street that you're looking into your subject property. Just give you an extra tips to take advantage of. But I do like how I like the neighborhood so far, and I like how there's three properties on their contract right now. Not on the contract, three properties that are in great shape. This is one investor right over here. Then we have this 175 on their contract. So great conditioning. So again, there's a lot of activities of investors in this area. So honestly, this could be like a great deal for them if they're really actually interested. But what I always want to check is if I'm sure this property has been listed for like more than 40, yeah, it's been 45 days already. But I want to see if it's been under contract or what kind of activity has been happening in those 45 days. Have they done a price reduction? Have they got the property under contract multiple times and it's been getting relisted every single time that it's been under contract? And those are signals that the seller is motivated to like come down, and also too that maybe there's also red flags where if the property is getting relisted because it got on the contract two or three times, then there's something wrong with like the property like overall, that whoever they got on the contract did the inspection period, and when during the inspection is they find out like some extra things that they didn't like, and they try to work on the price, and just the seller didn't want to work on that whatsoever. So there's a few reasons why it gets under contract and relisted, but those are green and red flags that I like to pay attention to. And so far, there has been nothing pitched over to this one. But again, 25,000, is it a deal to bring it over to 199? But also, is it within the same square footage? So this is a 2025 square footage. This one is 2214. Okay, that one can pass through. This one is 1200, so that one not too much. And then we have this one, other one that is also in the thousands. So far I only have one comp, but again, this comp it is under contract at the moment, so that's really good. I haven't even looked at the recently sold comps. So let's use this one. Let's use this one as an example, and we're gonna go based on the gudge-up repairs for this one. So let's start putting in some information in the calculator. So I'm trying to fix and flip this one just because again, there's other investors in the area. So great area for investors wise. Square footage is 22, what? Oh, 2025. Hey, next year, 2025. Does it have a basement? And I think it did mention a basement. Let's go to the property details. Basement enclosed. Has basement. All right, cool. I just don't know what the square footage is of that basement. Let's pull prop wire. Prop wire is a free property data analyzer. So I would always like to, again, I'm not an agent. I don't have access to the MLS. So I have to use all my resources. Same thing with investors. Some of them, a lot of them don't have access to the MLS because they're not agents, and that's perfectly fine. So again, that's where they have to do their thorough due diligence. So far the estimated value of this property is 60, but yeah, 25 is definitely good. Let's look at the comps as well through here. Again, I'm gonna look through comps through all three resources. I'm doing a thorough due diligence so I can make sure I'm looking at a great property and of course negotiate like on the offer. But the thing I did forget to do is look at my borders. So I want to go through 45th Street, 47th Street. I want to make sure that if they're high major roads. No, they're not. Not 45th. I'm sure it's not gonna be the same. It's gonna be the same thing for 47th Street. Yeah. Not a lot of traffic. It's just those roads that are guiding into it. Definitely for sure Broadway. Um, there's a railroad road right over here, so that's what I'm talking about, where neighborhoods get split up. That's an example of an area where I'm talking about. So I'm just trying to find like, well, I think 49th Street. Yeah, 49th Street for sure is going to be a busier road. Okay, not too bad. So I was trying to look for it. And then what I like about PropWire, it gives me that radius map. So my radius map is definitely within 49th all the way up to like 43rd. So that's what I have to use in terms of my comps. So now let me reset these filters so I can head over to the recently sold homes. And then from the recently sold homes, I'm looking for homes in the last 6 months. 6 months to 9 months is like the best time frame. And then compared to my same home, this is a 1938 home. The square footage is 2025, so plus or minus 300 on the square footage. So let's look for single family homes. 2025, there's no 2300, so I guess I have to go to like 2500 over here. And then the lowest, it's going to be 1700, looks like. So, all right, cool. But now what I have to do is there's this little button on Redfin that lets me draw. Again, I want to stick to with those streets that I was mentioning, which is 43rd all the way to 49th. That's my half-mile radius, which is gonna be right up here. Shabam. Oh, I passed it a little bit. That's perfectly fine. Let me do this because I forgot to do this. Oh, Georgia Street. I did not check on Georgia Street. Georgia, Georgia. See, there's an academy. What's going on? What's going on? Come on, come on, come on. Oh, here we go. Double Yellow Line Road. So I do have to stick within Georgia Street, because I was gonna go a little further than that, but this is a double yellow line road. I have one, two, three, four, five, six. Usually, if I see five or six more cars in the neighborhood, then that's gonna be more of a high traffic road. It just depends on the time of the day. This looks like it's like 12 to 1 p.m. So, um, it's not gonna be a lot of traffic, but again, during the high traffic times, that's something that I'll definitely want to consider. So I want to stick within that border inside of Georgia. I wouldn't want to go anything outside of that. So far, I only have two homes. So remember, you have to look for three homes. I mean, there's a couple other ones as well too. And there, again, just the neighborhood is really good in terms of investors. So like I said, there are some exceptions that you are able to make. I should have mentioned that as well too. But again, not every property is going to be the same whatsoever. Like I said, it's all dependent on what's going on with the neighborhood, wow, and then what kind of opportunities are going to be available. So this is one of the homes. Definitely great conditioning, 2,400 square feet, and this sold for 120 back in November. All right, cool. So let's go through the calculator. It does have a basement. It doesn't tell me how much the basement is. Usually for basements, they're half of the size, um, sometimes a little bit less on the square footage, sometimes almost the same size as the living space. But for this, I'm gonna go half the size of 1012 on like the on the basement. So this is the whole breakdown on the property on the calculator. First things first, you're gonna put the basic property information, asking price. There's an asking price. If there's no asking price, if you're reaching to sellers directly, then a lot of them get the pricing from Zillow, um, because Zillow gives them what's called like their estimate, which will pop up right here. There's this little estimate, or again, just like on PropWire as well too says what the property is worth. Usually I like to put in that as like the asking price and then just start working on my negotiations from there. Um, so that's how you're able to get like a pricing if you happen to reach out to sellers cold calling and they're not willing to give you like a price of how much they want, but and then also they don't tell you how much they think the property is worth. So I'm gonna use my analysis and be like, all right, well, your property's estimated value is this. So I'm going based on that. So if you're not liking the offer so far, it's because again you don't have a price in mind. So again, getting an asking price or a price on the property, it is essential. Then you put the living space. Closing costs are always going to get paid off by the end buyer. So you always want to make it as easy as possible to the seller and let them know, hey, we'll take care of your closing costs. So our offer basically comes into play is basically what you're walking away, except for taxes. That's the only thing you have to take care of on your side. But anything after that, everything before that, we take care of. There's no commissions, there's no closing costs. We bind the property as is. We'll do all the repairs. So again, we're just trying to take it off your hands at the best possible price and offer that. So this brings my first possible price to bring into the table. But let's see if this works. By all means, it definitely works great so far. I already know this could be like a good deal, but again, I have to do a further due diligence. Next is go through the repairs. The repairs we're talking about it just now is definitely going to be a gut job repair, and the gut job repair prices are between, if you guys recall, are between $45 to $60 per square foot. So I'm definitely going to play heavy this on the heavy side on $60 per square foot. And then for the basement, because it does have a basement, it's usually going to be half of the price of the living space. So if it's 60 on the living space, it's going to be 30 on the basement side. So again, to fully update it. And this home is a big home as well too. And also we have to figure out where the border is if you want to bring like any fencing into it as well too, just because it doesn't have any fencing around it. But again, if you try and make if the end buyer's trying to make you unique, they're always going to be throwing those extra expenses into play. But that's something you definitely want to consider. So far, the property is $25,000. We paying the closing costs. The repair so far needs around $150,000 in repairs. Oh man, it is a big home. And then my end buyer is a fix and flipper that I'm looking into. So the property needs to resell between it needs to sell around $200,000. This goes based on my purchase price because the property is already very low price. It's going to be the numbers are very close to each other. So usually when there's like a bigger price into it, these numbers start splitting up more from each other because what it's saying on the left side is saying if I buy the property, I don't negotiate. I'm like, I'll take it for $25,000. I pay the closing costs. I do the updates, and I want my 50% profit. It is going to be $206,000 for it for me to resell, so that way I can make my money back and make sure I deduct all the expenses along the way. But my main goal is to make sure that I get my 50% cut. Now, if the prices were a little bit different, then we'll go based on this price offer. Then I'll buy it for the possible purchase price. I'll do the repairs plus the 15% profit. Then my purchase price will be, or my resale price will need to be this on the property so I can make my money back into like the property. But again, because the number is so low, these numbers are going to be very close to each other. So as an example, if this property was $250,000, then by all means, you're gonna see a huge gap right here. It's 490, so it's almost $100,000 of a difference because again, the prices are gonna be are different from each other. Only the price changed, not the repairs. The repairs stay the same. It's only the price. So that's the difference right there from the calculator. But going back to it, basically my ARV has to be 200,000. We already found this one that sold um in November, and the average price per square foot on this, how much was it? $49 per square foot. $49. How much was? Where's that? Where's that? 2440. Let's see, 24, 120,000. I like to double check on my work from here. Yeah, $49. Okay. Then we have this one in December, the 191. This one did sell for $88 per square foot. So let's start putting this. So then now we go through the ARVs. Again, the properties that recently sold, properties that are currently pending as well too. You can apply it as a comp, 49, 88. And then we had found one that was under contract as well too on the pending side. So but these are the recently sold homes over here. Now let me go through my different source on PropWire so I can find my so I can find my comp. Let's see. So sold within the last 6 months, plus or minus. So give me their actual script. Yeah, 2025. So sold in the last 6 months, plus or minus 10% on the square footage. Okay, so we don't have a lot of properties over here. This one sold in August, but it's on the other side of the road. Let's see here. Anything else? No, not a lot of properties over here. Not a lot of properties, but hey, that's perfectly fine. Let me go through the resale or the under contract one. Let's remove this outline. Go back to the under contract and let's go through single family home. The square footage was 17 all the way up to 25. There was a home over here. What happened to it? Oh, why is it? That's what I heard about something about refing. Like it makes you refresh so many times. All right, come on. Under contract or pending. Cool. Oh, so that was my actual home right over here. Oh no, it's not. Okay, cool. So this one sold for it's on the contract for 199, maybe a little bit less, a little bit more. It's been on the market for 137 days, so ouch. But it is roughly around $90 per square foot. So bam, that's where my properties are going. So I am noticing that there's two of them that are really close to each other, except for like this one, that $120,000 that I found in the beginning, that it's like one that is like standing out in terms of it. In terms of it being let's see, what about a little bit north? How much is this? This is 17, okay. And we have this 160. All right, cool. So I can use this one. This one is listed for 65. How about the other one? How much is this one listed for? 130 for 17. Again, but that's our availability. This one is selling for 75. Okay, so I'll bring this higher to 75. So 170 is going to be my ARV into this property. So 171,000. My fix and flip, my investor again is going to be doing the fix and flipping side of things. So then this is how much they'll want to buy it themselves. One of them is very aggressive in terms of like the pricing of it. Again, the repairs, it's I'm just playing it safe right now just because it is definitely a gut shop repair home, but it's definitely going to need the $150,000 and it is a big home. So honestly, the property definitely will want to get it under contract for maybe less than $10,000. It's not going to be a major wholesale fee from this, but hey, we definitely got to work with it because we have an aggressive investor that wouldn't even want to buy it, deal with it, because again, it's just the repairs are way too significantly on it. Um, and my end buyer again wants to make 15% profit. So this is how much they'll be making like on their side, selling again, if even if it was like $200,000, just like a lot of them are being as well too. Maybe even the aggressive investor wouldn't even want to buy it. Now this one will want to buy a little bit, the conservative one will buy a little bit more, but it does need to sell for like 200,000. And then that's the thing, sometimes the ARV at the moment, your ARV could be one thing, but when the property resells, it could resell for a lot more. So that the end buyer, if they're making money, hey, that it makes them really happy. So that way, if you bring them another deal, cool. It's just sometimes being too greedy is not really gonna help you out on your side. But this could be the realistic answer. So if you're able to get it for like $10,000 on the contract and even just try to get like a 7,000 a 4,000 wholesale fee because again the initial purchase price was 17, then this could be a quick wholesale fee that you're able to get $4,000 in 30 days just by doing like about 2 weeks of work. And then 2 weeks of work is going to be the inspection, the calling, negotiating, maybe top of 3 weeks, and then close within a month, within 30 days. Hey, that's going to be one deal. And if you do two or three of these in 1 month, then that's how you're going to be making right around $12,000 on doing a lot of deals. But again, we went through how to look for if the neighborhood is going to be really good. We did some driving for dollars virtually. We found some other opportunities. So besides this one, we did notice some other opportunities as well too. We checked out that there's a lot of investors. There's a lot of properties even under contract at the moment that are pending. So these are really strong signs. And as you can see, a lot of these homes really look the same, and they're selling around $200,000. So honestly, the property can definitely sell for $200,000. We have three of them, 199, 195, and they're all within the same square footage of it. This is $90 per square foot. This one is going to be $98 per square foot. So 98, and then this one's going to be $84 per square foot. So in all reality, this is a property that it can definitely sell for that $200,000 mark. And again, that's the thing that you want to bring. So 95, 98, and then $90 a square foot. This property can definitely sell for $200,000. 191,000. Again, yeah, you can see the one of the investors will definitely want to buy it for 27,000. So they'll even go $2,000 over asking. And if you're able to get it under contract for $10,000, now you got a $17,000 wholesale fee, or even a $12,000 wholesale fee. But that's the thing, is looking how what properties are actually happening at the moment, what those prices are going for, because that will give you like the insight of, all right, cool, there's other investors in the area, there's a lot of investors coming in, and there's a lot of properties that are actually selling on that fix and flip. So this could be another opportunity. It's just going to be heavy on the costs as well too, but that's just part of like the process from there. But that's the ARV calculator, guys, and then that's how you're able to get like a deal out of it. So again, I estimated getting on the under contract around, so for the calculator estimate on the 17. So this is a 10,000, maybe $8,000 wholesale fee. But I mean, I'm not calling it out, but this could be a deal. It's just gonna take some negotiating into it. And again, depending on how much activity is, and especially being listed in the market, by all means, you can definitely get as well. And then the repairs is both on the living space and on the basement as well too. So $150,000, $152,000, by all means, definitely take it. So that's how you analyze um, a property that is in terms of investment wise. On the flip side, that's how you analyze that. But now let's head over to doing some rental properties, because again, sometimes you're going to come some properties that are rentals. But I'm going to take the easy route and then look for properties that are rented at the moment, and look for those. And again, in the same city as well, Gary, Indiana, and see what we're able to find. So for these rental ones, I always like to go for on that times multifamilies. Multifamilies with, I'm not looking for anything under contract. I'm just looking for just homes right now. Oh, come on. Refresh. All right, cool. So let's look at these multifamilies. Did I set a price point? What's going on? Oh yeah, set a square footage. I was like, what's going on? All right, so it looks like we have a few multifamily properties right over here. Let's see what we're able to find. Investor and house hackers. Cool. This is a duplex, 2 unit. Okay, so tenant responsible for gas and electric. Both units are currently rented for $800. Both tenants are month cap rate at 12%. All right, cool. So let's see if that's actually true, if that's the current cap rate. So let's check it out. So the property is being sold for $110,000. Down payment, if I were to buy this property, put a down payment of 20%. Maybe get a rate. I'll leave my interest rate at around 8% right now. Closing costs, I paid my own closing costs, not the seller's closing costs in terms of this. I can make it negotiable if I pay theirs. It would go up by like 5%. But we'll see. Let's see what's next. What's next? Next is the initial investment. So my down payment is 22, closing costs. So I need $27,000 as the initial. These are, let's see, two bedroom, one bath, two bedroom, one bath. So why is there a third bathroom in there? So these are two bedroom, one bath properties. So let me go through the two bedroom, one bath. There's two of them, both of them being rented for $800. Cool. Anything else? There's no garage on the property either. Just like a driveway up here. But there is room for a garage. So a garage can definitely get constructed over here. Or I'm not sure if this is like an extra, if this lot comes, if this is a corner lot, if this whole lot comes into it, because if it does, hey, we got a property with a great opportunity to make more opportunities. So let's see. So this what I like to do is let me check the parcel viewer. So I'm gonna do Gary, Indiana parcel viewer. Oh, it's in Lake County. All right, cool. Let's check it out. Lake County Gary parcel viewer. The reason I want to do the parcel viewer is because I want to check out unincorporated section for what? What's this? Look up property information. All right, cool. I was like, what? Sadwell, this application uses license. All right, cool. All rights reserved. Okay, accept. Search. Uh, Parcel number. So give me a parcel number. The parcel number is gonna be right over here. At the bottom section. It's gonna be the APN number. Sometimes it's the APN number, sometimes it's a little bit different. Let's see. Searching records, no results. So this is the where we're looking into. So let me see where this property is. Maybe I can zoom into it. Oh, Indiana Toll. Okay, cool. Tyler Street. Okay. Just trying to pull this up, but this thing is taking a little bit long. Um, why is it popping up like that? Oh, does it have the parcel viewer over here? Um, Parcel APM property. No, nothing. Hint to a list of 3 characters. Yeah, let me use this app that I like to use to help me expedite this. I'm just trying to find like the borders of it. What's the address? 2028 Tyler Street. Gary, Indiana. Here we go. All right, I found it over here. Parcel. Oh, it's the right numbers. It just needs dashes. 45 dash 08 dash 04 dash 128 dash 023 dash and then 004 dash C. Still nothing? Oh my God. Um, mm, so it doesn't look like it doesn't look like it's no, it's not. I'm just looking at the owners on it. Um, it's different owners. Hunter. Yeah, there's different owners on it, so it just didn't pop up. But I usually like to pull up the parcel viewer for it. But regardless, that's not what I'm looking at. Okay, let's just keep on going. All right, so the property is being rented out for $800 a month. Um, So my income is 800 for two, it's $1,600 every single month. My yearly income is $19,200. Now I can break it down my expenses. My expenses are usually going to be taxes, insurance, HOA, if there's any maintenance, vacancy, property management. So again, make it passive income by having a property manager rent it out for me. Make sure they're keeping it updated as well too. The standard rule is 40% for like the expenses, 30% if you're going to be managing like the property yourself, if you happen to be in the area. But other than that, I like to stick to like 40% rule, or I can break down all my expenses down to like the penny. But again, I'm gonna go with the standard 40% rule right now. So my expenses are going to be $7,000. So my gross income is 19. My expenses are 17. So for the entire year, I'm going to be netting $11,520 on the net side. And so then from here, it's basically bringing me $960 of income every single month. Cool. Some things that did were mentioned is the agent did said that the cap rate is at 12% with room improvement. I haven't checked out the property inside yet, so I don't know what's going on inside because there's no pictures of it. I was just looking for a property that has like information in here. And then if the agent has cap rate, then that means they know they should have some clue on what's going on. But based on the numbers that we put in, cap rate gets calculated based on the net income and also the price. So let's see if it pops up. It's gonna pop up right here in a second. I'm just gonna keep on scrolling, and so far I'm seeing 10.43% um on the cap rate. So I don't know how they came up with like 12% unless they're charging something extra, maybe like parking. Even if they're to charge for parking, let's do one parking for $50 more. So now our rent 1650. Not even that helped it out. So I don't know where the 12% cap rate came in. But the property does cash flow though. The way cash flow works is you have your net income. Again, after all your expenses, the regular expenses, one of the expenses that doesn't get mentioned is mortgage, or what we like to call is debt service, sorry. So now you have your net income, then you subtract your debt service, aka your mortgage, and then that's how you're able to get cash flow. So $11,000 minus that debt service or mortgage of $7,000 for the entire year, the property cash flows at $3,800. That's every single year for or a total monthly of $316 every single month. So the property does cash flow. The only thing is what's going on inside. Like what's the condition of the inside? Because if it needs work, then by all means. And I do have a debt service ratio of 1.49. Usually for one debt service ratio, it has to be has to be greater than one. So if it's less than one, you're basically paying for like the expenses. If it's greater than one, then it's bringing money in. But usually, if you want to get like it's what's called a debt service conversion ratio loan or a DSCR loan, basically the property has to cash flow for them to like pay you, and usually you pay like that 20% down payment, so they'll cover 80% of the closing costs, or depending on how much you want to do for it. So this property, at a 10% cap rate is at $115,000. So now let's understand cap rate, because what cap rate is saying is the way cap rate works is the higher the cap rate, the lower the price of the property is. The lower the cap rate, the higher the price of the property is. So let's say this was a 3% cap rate, then the property's price will be close to around $385,000. That's not the case. Right now, the case is around 10. But the agent did say that the 12% cap rate for this property, she said that the cap rate is 12%. But the property is not listed for $96,000. So that's how much I will need to get it for me to make a 12% to buy it at a 12% cap rate. Because right now I just did the numbers and it's pulling 10.5. Unless I break down like all the expenses. Down to the niche, then by all means, but I'll always have to check out the financials on it. But this is how much I need to purchase it at a 12% cap rate. And if I can put it on, I'm gonna take away these expenses because this is an extra expense. Again, I was just testing it out. But 12% cap rate is gonna be $96,000. So then now this is how much the agent would have listed it if it was at a 12% cap rate. So after all the expenses and everything, again, I'm sticking by the expenses with the 40% rule. Then at a 12% cap rate, now at $96,000, I'm definitely hitting a 12% cap rate. And the property does cash flow a little even more at $4,757. So it is definitely something really great. The debt service dropped down a little bit, so again, it's bringing more income, and now the debt service coverage ratio did increase as well too, because again, that means the property cash flows even more. And of course, my break even is going to be around 5 years for me to break even. So this is a great opportunity for a great investment. So, but the only thing I do have to question is what's going inside, what kind of repairs does it need? I'm out of state, so I can't really travel over there. I'm not trying to spend the time to travel and go check out the property or anything like that whatsoever. I want to collect all the information as much as possible when looking at rental properties. So this is something that I definitely want to analyze. But this so far, it's a great opportunity. It's just there's some hidden details that need to get disclosed so I can understand if it's a great investment to pull like a trigger. But that's how you analyze a property that is in terms of like a rental. And again, the calculator just helped me find it in less time than what I spent on trying to analyze a fix and flip deal. Just because when it comes to rental properties, it's strictly just numbers. You're buying numbers, so you're buying like a business. So think like you're buying like a business. If you're buying like a business, why are they selling the business? Are they not bringing money in? Are they not happy? Are they tired? What's going on? Um, um, and also like what kind of how much money did it make? Like what's the peak that it make? And also what's the lease that it made, and what's going on more like an internal. So you're doing like an audit. You're doing like a full audit of like all expenses, all incomes, and just all the condition of the property to make sure if it's a great investment as well too. But that's pretty much it for the entire calculator. So if you have any questions, by all means, drop it in chat. Is there anybody? Oh, there's nobody on, so there's no questions happening today. But thank you guys. I really appreciate for watching the series, and then I'll see you guys on the next episode on what is it? Today's Monday, on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Take care.